What if everything you've been taught about money is wrong? What if the reason you're struggling financially has nothing to do with your bank account and everything to do with what you believe about wealth? You've heard the sayings, money is the root of all evil. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Maybe you've even told yourself that being broke is noble or that true spirituality requires sacrifice, that having more than enough is somehow greedy. But what if none of that was ever meant to be your truth? Deep down, you want more than just survival. You want freedom. You want peace. You want to know that no matter what happens tomorrow, you'll be okay. And not just okay, thriving. Living a life where stress doesn't control you, where you can provide for your family, help others, and finally stop worrying about the next bill. So why does it feel so far away? Because somewhere along the way, you were taught to fear abundance instead of pursuing it. Let me ask you something. What if the Bible, yes, the very book many think only talks about humility and suffering, actually holds the secret to financial freedom? Not luck, not inheritance, not even talent. A timeless, unshakable principle that has changed lives for thousands of years. A law so powerful that when applied, it opens doors that no man can shut. That's what this is about. This isn't another get-rich-quick scheme. It's not about greed or selfishness. It's about understanding the divine blueprint for prosperity, one that aligns your heart with truth, your mind with purpose, and your actions with destiny. And here's the best part. It works for anyone who applies it. You may be sitting there thinking, I've tried everything. Budgeting, side hustles, cutting back, working overtime. And still, it feels like you're running in place. Or worse, falling behind. But what if your struggle isn't because you don't work hard enough? What if it's because you've been following the wrong map? We live in a world that glorifies hustle without wisdom. We chase money but never learn how to keep it. We focus on income but ignore influence. Look for shortcuts instead of systems. And in doing so, we miss the most powerful source of guidance ever written, the Bible. Yes, the same book that's often used to shame people out of wanting more is actually filled with principles that lead to abundance. Not just spiritual abundance, but physical, emotional, and yes, financial abundance. Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, without painful toil for it." Think about that. God's blessing brings wealth. Through exploitation, not through deception, not through endless grind, but through alignment with His design. This changes everything, because it means prosperity isn't random. It's not reserved for the lucky few. It's not a curse. It's not even complicated. It's a mindset, a set of choices, a lifestyle rooted in trust, discipline, and purpose. But before you can access it, you have to let go of the lies. You have to stop believing that money is evil, that poverty is holy, that success must come at someone else's expense. Prosperity begins when you realize that God wants you to have more than enough, not just for yourself, but so you can bless others. Imagine waking up every day knowing that you are positioned for increase, that your finances are not a burden, but a tool, that you are not cursed by lack, but called to lead through abundance. That's not fantasy, that's faith in action. And the truth is, most people will never discover it because they're too busy chasing after quick fixes instead of building foundations. But you, if you're still listening, it means you're ready for more than just change. You're ready for transformation. So let's go deeper. Let's uncover the forgotten truth that changes everything. The one principle that once understood shifts your entire relationship with money forever. Because the secret to wealth isn't hidden in Wall Street or Silicon Valley. It's buried in the pages of Scripture. And once you unlock it, nothing will ever be the same again. You now understand that wealth is not a curse and prosperity is not a sin. You've begun to see that the Bible doesn't condemn money. It reveals how to receive and steward it with wisdom, faith, and purpose. And if you're like most people, something inside of you just shifted. A new awareness has sparked. The realization that your financial future is not written in stone, but in choices. But knowledge alone won't change your life. It's what you do with that knowledge that determines whether you remain stuck or break through to a new level of abundance. So let's go deeper. Because there is one principle, more powerful than any financial strategy or mindset hack, that changes everything. It's not complicated. It's not exclusive. And yet most people miss it entirely. Not because it's hidden, but because they don't expect it to be so simple. That principle, stewardship, not sacrifice, not suffering, not even hard work alone, but stewardship, the art of managing what you already have with wisdom, integrity, and vision. Let me ask you something. Have you ever given generously, only to feel richer afterward? Not just emotionally, but financially, like somehow after giving more came back to you? There's a reason for that. Science has shown that generosity activates the reward centers in our brains. Acts of giving release dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, chemicals that make us feel connected, fulfilled, and empowered. But beyond the science, there's a spiritual law at play, one that predates modern psychology by thousands of years. When you give, you align yourself with abundance. You signal to the universe and to your own subconscious that you are not ruled by fear, but by faith, that you believe there is more where that came from, that you trust in the flow of life, knowing that when you release, you create space for more to return. This is not wishful thinking. This is design. And it starts with a shift in identity. Most people see themselves as consumers. They live paycheck to paycheck, always waiting for the next deposit, always hoping for a raise, always chasing the next deal. But those who thrive, those who move from survival to sovereignty, see themselves differently. They see themselves as stewards. A steward doesn't hoard. A steward manages. He or she looks at every dollar, every opportunity, every resource, and asks not what can I get, but what can I do with this? That small shift from ownership to stewardship unlocks incredible power. Because when you act like a steward, you begin to think long-term. You stop making decisions based on fear and start making them based on vision. You no longer spend recklessly, save selfishly, or invest blindly. Instead, you become intentional, purpose-driven, faith-led. And here's the beautiful truth. God rewards stewardship. He multiplies what you are faithful with. He opens doors when you honor what you already have. He blesses your hands when you use them wisely. You may be thinking, but I don't have much to give right now. Exactly. That's when stewardship matters the most. Because true wealth isn't about how much you have. It's about how you handle what you've been given. Think of it like planting a seed. If you bury it in the ground, it disappears for a while. But if you trust the process, if you water it, protect it, and wait patiently, it grows into something far greater than what you started with. Your finances work the same way. Every time you choose to give, whether it's a portion of your income, your time, or your energy, you plant a seed for future increase. Every time you budget wisely, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted with more. Every time you make a responsible choice, you build a foundation for lasting abundance. But here's the danger. When we operate out of fear, we hold on too tightly. We refuse to give. We cling to what little we have, convinced that letting go means losing. And that's when the flow stops. Wealth doesn't come to those who hoard. It comes to those who trust. Now, let me be clear. This is not about manipulation or superstition. This is about alignment. The moment you begin to act like someone who is already prosperous, generous, wise, disciplined, you begin to attract more prosperity. Because your actions shape your reality. And when you act like a steward, you begin to see opportunities you never noticed before. You attract people who support your growth. You gain clarity on how to improve your situation. You stop feeling trapped by debt or lack, and start seeing your resources as tools for impact. Prosperity is not just about having more money. It's about becoming more intentional, more grateful, more confident, more empowered. And the best part? You don't need permission to start. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You simply need to take one step, one faithful action towards stewardship. Give something today, not because you have to, not because someone told you to, but because you are choosing to align yourself with abundance. Make a budget. Set aside a portion to give. Invest in something that builds value, or simply speak words of gratitude over your finances instead of fear. Whatever step you take it with faith, because the moment you begin to act like someone who understands the secret to wealth, the moment you shift from consumer to steward, you set a chain reaction into motion. And once it begins, nothing can stop it. Because this is not magic. This is divine design. And it works every single time. You've taken the first step. You understand now that wealth is not a curse, but a calling. You've begun to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a steward, someone who manages resources with purpose, vision, and faith. And in doing so, you've already shifted your mindset from scarcity to abundance. But here's what separates those who dream from those who live in prosperity identity. It's not enough to know the principles. It's not even enough to apply them once or twice. True, lasting wealth comes when you become the kind of person who naturally attracts abundance. Not by luck, but by design. Because wealth begins on the inside. It starts with how you see yourself, with what you believe you deserve, with whether or not you accept that you are worthy of living a life of freedom, peace, and increase. Let me ask you something powerful. Do you truly believe you are made for more? Or do you carry around the weight of guilt, shame, fear every time you think about having more than enough? Many people sabotage their own success because they don't feel deserving. They achieve a little, then unconsciously pull back, overspend, make poor decisions, or fall into old habits. Because deep down, they don't believe they belong in a place of abundance. That's why understanding your true identity is the key to unlocking everything else. You were created in the image of a provider, not just a worker, not just a survivor, but a provider. Someone who not only meets their own needs, but blesses others through their overflow. And if you were made in the image of a provider, then you have within you the capacity to create, manage, and multiply resources. That's not just spiritual language, that's psychological truth. When you align your self-image with your highest potential, your behavior follows. If you see yourself as someone who struggles financially, you'll continue to make choices that reinforce that belief. But when you begin to see yourself as someone who handles money wisely, gives generously, and grows consistently, your actions change. Your habits shift. Your results transform. This is the power of identity-based change. It's not about trying harder. It's about believing deeper. So let's speak truth over your life today. You are not cursed by lack. You are called to lead through abundance. You are not trapped by debt. You are destined to be free. You are not powerless over your finances. You are a decision away from transformation. And the moment you begin to speak these truths over your life, not just with your mouth, but in your heart, everything changes. Because gratitude rewires your brain. Studies show that practicing daily gratitude actually increases dopamine and serotonin levels, chemicals responsible for happiness, motivation, and emotional resilience. But beyond the science, there's something even more powerful at work. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do. It pulls you out of fear and places you in faith. It moves you from complaint to contribution, from lack to legacy. So start today. Before you check your bank account, before you look at your bills, take a moment to thank the universe or God or whatever higher power you believe in for what you already have. Your home, your health, your mind, your ability to learn, grow, and change. Because when you operate from gratitude, you open the door to more blessings. And when you walk through that door, you leave behind the mindset of limitation forever. Now, let's talk about comparison. One of the most dangerous thieves of abundance. You scroll through social media and see other people's highlight reels. You compare your beginning to their middle, their luxury to your struggle, their fast track to your slow climb. And it stings. It makes you question your worth, makes you wonder if you're falling behind, makes you doubt whether you'll ever catch up. But here's the truth. Comparison kills contentment, and contentment is the foundation of true wealth. You don't need to have what someone else has. You need to build what only you can build. Your journey is not theirs. Your timing is not theirs. Your destiny is not measured by someone else's standards. Prosperity is not about keeping up with the world. It's about staying aligned with your purpose. So stop looking sideways. Start looking inward. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What can I give today? What small step can I take toward my goals? Because every time you choose contentment over comparison, gratitude over greed, and faith over fear, you strengthen your mindset. And that mindset is what will carry you into the life of abundance you were always meant to live. So speak life over your finances today. Don't whisper words of defeat. Don't mutter phrases like I can't or I never will. Replace those thoughts with declarations of possibility. I am capable, I am growing, I am becoming. Say them out loud, feel them in your bones, because this is your turning point. You are no longer bound by fear or false beliefs. You are stepping into a new reality, one where peace replaces panic, where purpose guides your choices, and where prosperity flows not from luck, but from the alignment of your heart, mind, and actions. And it all starts now, with you. With this moment, with the decision to believe in your worth, embrace your identity, and walk forward in the truth that you are made for abundance. You now understand that wealth begins on the inside, that your identity shapes your reality, that gratitude rewires your brain, contentment protects your peace, and faith opens doors no man can shut. You've shifted from seeing money as a burden to recognizing it as a tool, one you can use not just for survival, but for impact. But here's what many never talk about. Faith without discipline is just wishful thinking. Believing in abundance is powerful, but belief must be backed by action. Vision without execution remains a dream. And if you want to move from where you are to where you're called to be, you must embrace the discipline behind divine blessings. Because God does not bless laziness. He multiplies faithfulness. He rewards effort. He honors those who take responsibility not just for their dreams, but for their daily choices. Let me ask you something. Are you doing the hard work today that will lead to prosperity tomorrow? Or are you waiting for the perfect moment, the big break, the unexpected windfall, the miracle that requires no effort on your part? Real breakthroughs come not from luck, but from consistency, from waking up early to plan instead of hitting snooze, from choosing wisdom over impulse, from making the call, creating the budget, tracking the expenses, learning the skills, investing the time, even when no one sees it. That's discipline, and it may be the most overlooked ingredient in lasting success. Because anyone can dream, anyone can feel inspired for a day or two, but only a few will follow through when the excitement fades and the real work begins. So let's talk about what that work looks like. It starts with planning. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty." Think about that. Not talent alone, not connections alone, not even vision alone, but diligence, consistent, focused, intentional effort leads to sure increase. That means taking control of your finances, not leaving them to chance. Creating a budget isn't punishment, it's power. Tracking your spending isn't restriction, it's clarity. Saving isn't deprivation, it's protection. Investing isn't greed, it's wisdom. These are not religious rituals, they are tools of responsibility. And when you begin to treat your money with respect, something shifts. You start to see yourself differently. You realize that wealth is not something that happens to you. It's something you build, brick by brick, decision by decision. Now let's speak honestly about sacrifice. Yes, there will be moments when you must give up short-term pleasure for long-term gain. There will be times when others spend and you save. When friends go out and you stay in. When temptation whispers, just this once, and you say no because you already see the future you're building. That's not deprivation. That's direction. Every time you choose delayed gratification, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than impulse. You show that you are not ruled by emotion, but guided by purpose. And every small act of self-control builds a mountain of momentum. Because discipline compounds. Each wise choice makes the next one easier. Each responsible habit strengthens your character. Each faithful step moves you closer to the life you desire. This is how ordinary people become unstoppable. They don't wait for motivation. They create structure. They don't chase shortcuts. They master the fundamentals. They don't rely on luck. They build systems. And so can you. Start today. Open that spreadsheet. Make that phone call. Set that financial goal. Write down your values and align your spending with them. Because when you take responsibility for your finances, you take responsibility for your future. Prosperity doesn't come to those who hope, it comes to those who do. And if you're willing to put in the work, you will look back one day and wonder how you ever doubted yourself. Because discipline always pays off. It might not feel easy now. It might not bring instant results. But every single step you take, every dollar you track, every plan you make, every sacrifice you honor, is moving you forward, and one day soon you'll stand in a place of abundance and realize something powerful: you didn't get lucky. You didn't inherit success. You earned it through faith, through focus, through relentless, unwavering discipline. And now nothing can stop you. You've come a long way. You no longer believe the lies that kept you trapped. You've broken free from the fear, the guilt, the false idea that money is evil or that struggle is holy. You've embraced a new mindset, one where wealth is not just possible, but purposeful. You've learned that prosperity begins on the inside, that your identity shapes your reality, and that discipline is the bridge between dreams and destiny. And now, it's time for the final leap, because everything you've built, your beliefs, your habits, your choices, must lead to one thing: action. Not someday, not when you feel ready, now. Because the moment you decide to rise, something shifts in the universe, the energy around you changes. Doors begin to open, opportunities align, and the life you once only imagined starts to take shape, not through magic, but through movement. Let me ask you something powerful. Why are you here? What is it that you truly want? Is it peace? Is it freedom? Is it the ability to provide for your family without fear? To give generously without hesitation? To wake up each morning knowing that you are in control of your finances instead of being controlled by them? Whatever it is, that desire did not come from nowhere. It came from within you, from a dream planted deep in your soul. And if you're still listening right now, it means you haven't given up on it yet. So don't. Because this is your moment. This is the point where you stop waiting and start doing. Where you stop questioning whether it's possible and begin proving that it is. You were not created to live small. You were not born to struggle. You were made for abundance, not just in wealth, but in joy, in peace, in purpose. And the truth is, you already have everything you need to begin. Not tomorrow, not after you get that raise or pay off that debt or find the perfect plan. You have what it takes right now. Because greatness is not about having more resources. It's about making better use of what you already have. Every step you take today, every decision to give, to plan, to invest, to save, to believe, is building your future. And the beautiful thing is, momentum builds. The first step is always the hardest. But once you move, once you commit, once you say yes to your own potential, everything changes. You start to see possibilities where before there were only problems. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there, but hidden behind your doubt. People show up who support your vision, your confidence grows, your clarity sharpens, and slowly, steadily you begin to rise. Because this is how transformation works. Not with a single grand gesture, but with consistent, powerful action. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just take one step, make one call, write down one goal, give one gift, say one declaration out loud. Because faith grows through motion. And every time you act, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are unstoppable. Let me remind you of something important. You are not alone in this journey. There is power in alignment with your values, with your purpose, and with the greater force that guides all things. Call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever resonates with your soul. But know this, you are supported, you are seen, you are destined for more than you can imagine. And the same force that created the stars, that designed the laws of nature, that brings seasons of harvest after seasons of planting, is working in your favor. You may not see it yet. You may not feel it every day, but it is happening. Because the law of increase is real. When you give, you receive. When you trust, you grow. When you act, doors open. And when you believe, truly believe, that you are called to abundance, nothing can hold you back. So I challenge you now. Stand up. Take a deep breath. Look ahead, not at where you've been, but at where you're going. And speak these words with conviction. I am capable. Chosen. I am rising into my destiny, and my season of increase has already begun. Because the secret to wealth was never hidden. It was always within you. And now, you're ready to claim it.